Hello, my name is Toby Madden. I'm an economist here at the Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis.
And I'm Rob Grunwald, also an economist here at the Minneapolis Fed.
And we're here today to provide the 2013 economic outlook for the 9th District, which includes Montana, the Dakotas, Minnesota, northwestern Wisconsin, and the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And we base this forecast on a few variables. One is our statistical models, and the other is surveys. And before we get into the 2013 outlook, Rob, what happened in 2012?
Well, based on the Minneapolis Fed's forecasting models, which take historical national and state data to make predictions going forward, we see that 2012 was somewhat weaker than forecast a year ago. Employment levels, employment growth was slower than forecast, although unemployment rates were also lower than forecast. Personal income growth was slower than predicted a year ago. Meanwhile, home building was much stronger than forecast.
What about the forecast model results for 2013?
Well, looking forward to 2013, the forecast models are pointing to moderate growth in non-farm employment, with the strongest growth in Minnesota and particularly in North Dakota. At the same time, we expect sluggish growth in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. In terms of unemployment rates, all unemployment rates are expected to come down below historical levels in our various areas, except for South Dakota, which will be slightly above its historical level. North Dakota's unemployment rate is going to drop all the way down to 2.8%. So what are we hearing from the survey results in terms of employment?
Well, every year we survey business leaders across the 9th Federal Reserve District, and they expect steady growth for 2013, especially for their own operations. They're looking at increased production levels, and they're looking to increase employment a bit. So across all geographic areas except for the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, they expect employment's going to grow at their companies. And in terms of the sectors, across a wide range of sectors, it looks like employment's going to grow as well. So again, it looks pretty steady for the growth in 2013, according to the business leaders. How about personal income?
Well, the forecasting models are pointing to growth in personal income across all of our areas, with an increase in growth relative to last year in Minnesota and South Dakota and Wisconsin. In terms of home building had a very strong year in 2012. Looking forward, the forecasting model is a bit more mixed on what is expected for 2013. And Toby, what are we expecting from the surveys in terms of home building?
Well, when we asked business leaders across the 9th Federal Reserve District about home building in their communities, it was mixed as well, with North Dakota and the Twin Cities looking for pretty solid growth, a lot of other areas kind of looking for flat growth, and then the Upper Peninsula of Michigan looking for possibly some decreases. So from the surveys, it looks like home building is going to be mixed. However, when you take a look at the real estate markets across the 9th Federal Reserve District, you'll see that the inventory of homes available for sale has been decreasing. Home sales have been increasing, and that's leading to higher prices and kind of an increase in demand for construction. So it looks like home building is on the rebound from very low levels. Turning to manufacturing, we survey manufacturers in conjunction with the Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development. And what we're finding from manufacturers is that they expect some growth in 2013 after several years of growth and some sluggishness at the last half of 2012. They're looking to increase production, increases in capital investment and employment across many of the states. And so it looks like manufacturing should have a decent year in 2013. Turning to agriculture, the U.S. Department of Agriculture expects prices for most of the 9th District's commodities, agricultural commodities, to increase. And so that's a good thing for our farmers and ranchers. However, at the end of last year, we had a pretty terrible drought, and that's continuing into this year. And if that prolongs throughout the growing season, we could be in some trouble on the agriculture side. So to recap, it looks like we're going to have steady growth in 2013 with increases in employment and some decreases in unemployment.